Hi, this is Monica from Little Painted Nest. It's kind of spur of the moment little video tutorial that I wanted to do on the PIY transfer gel. Just got this in. It'll be the only few times that I've tried using it. It's actually kind of a neat product. It's different. It works different than other transfer gels that I've used. So I just wanted to show you how it does work. So we're going to get started here, and I'm going to tilt the camera down just so I can get a better angle for you here, and hopefully that'll help just so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm kind of halfway in the camera here. So here we go. So the first thing that I did was I had these little blocks of wood, just little MDF blocks. My husband wanted to throw them out, and I'm like, no, keep them. Because I just try and keep everything without being a hoarder. But I knew that they would probably come into play and be kind of handy down the road. So I've just done 2 coats of the PIY paint products in vintage lace. So I've done 2 coats. It's dry and it's ready to go. Haven't done anything else, but that's it. So you don't want to seal it or wax it or anything. You want just the raw chalk-based paint surface. And then I have my image transfer here. So I've got the image transfer here. I just Googled an image and this is what I came up with. And then I just cut and copied and pasted over to a Word document. And what you have to remember to do is that anything with writing or words or anything, you need to have it in a mirror image. So what the easiest trick that I've come up with is when you copy and paste onto a Word document is if you click on the image and you literally just click your cursor on the image and then like pull the image over. So you're just kind of like clicking and pulling over, it'll automatically do a flip for you. And then of course scale it to whatever it is that you're working with. So that's what I've done here. So I'm going to cut it out. And you want to cut your image to fit the piece that you're working on. So in this particular case, unfortunately, I have to cut the crown off because it's just not going to fit on my little block here. So that's going to get cut off, but I still think it's okay without it. So I'm going to cut that off. And I'm just going to cut my image, you know, so that it works on my block piece here. So again, cutting it as close to the basic outline of the image is what's important here. In this particular transfer medium, you don't have the paper. You're not wetting the paper and then rubbing it off. So, you know, it's maybe not as important because it just literally, the paper just literally peels off. Okay, so I've cut my image here. So I've got it here. And I'm just going to double check, make sure that it looks like it should be about right, you know, and figure that it'll get it centered in. Let's see, I might have to just trim that a little bit more right here. I don't like my image to be bigger than what I'm working on because then I got more paper to hold on to. And then it's hard for me to know whether it's centered or not. Okay, so that should do it there. That should do it there. All right, so I've got my image, fits my block that I'm working on here, and I'm good to go. So the next thing we're going to do is, so you want to take your transfer gel. You want to take your transfer gel and pour it a little bit into a metal or glass little container or something here, because if you don't put it into metal or glass and you put it into plastic, it will eat through the plastic, is what I discovered. I did that once and ended up with the transfer gel soaking through. So you want to put it into metal or glass. All right, so I've got my image and just an old paintbrush. And so you're going to paint the back of the image. So you're going to wet that image. You're going to paint the back of it here. And make sure it's got good coverage and soaking through, and it's going to be shiny looking. So you want this pretty wet. So again, that just takes a moment to do that. Bigger the image, maybe the little more awkward it can get. And you don't want to be touching the front of your image at all, like any of the inked areas. You don't want to be touching any of the inked areas on your image too, as an FYI, because then you'll take the ink right off. You're likely to take your ink off. All right, so I've got this pretty pretty wet. You can see it's quite shiny. So I'm just going to let that settle in a little bit and let that transfer gel sort of soak through, and turn it around. So don't put it upside down, or I don't know, just so it works the right way up for me anyway. So I'm just going to let that sit in for a little bit, just till the shininess is kind of off of it, because you can see it's still kind of shiny here. So I just want that to kind of soak in and lose some of the shininess. And when you think you've kind of, you know, where it's kind of dulled down a bit and soak through, I have found when I was playing around with it is that I would go ahead and sort of lay that down where I was happy to have it go down. And I would just take my fingers and kind of just smooth it out and kind of get it into place, and kind of just use my fingers and my apron. Does everybody else have a dirty apron like this? I wash it once in a while, but as you can see, chalk paint does stain. It's fabric, so it's in there. It was my mom's apron, and so I love wearing it. All right, so I've got my image down, and then what I find, because I've kind of done that, is I actually will go back and just with whatever is on my brush or whatnot, and just do even just a little extra, put a little extra oil. Just, I don't know, it's what I found out worked when I was playing around with it. And then the other thing that you're going to need is you're going to need a metal spoon, just a kitchen spoon. And then I use a tongue depressor too, because I find that with the tongue depressor, I can just kind of just at the end, after I burnished it with my spoon, is I just kind of take my tongue depressor and just do a little bit of that kind of all over the image. And it kind of lays it down a bit for me, and just so I feel like I've gotten everything and given it an extra push. So what we're going to be doing with the spoon is you're going to be burnishing it. So let's do that. So I'll start doing that, and then yeah, and I'll just kind of just speed up the video so you can kind of see what's happening here before I do the big reveal and peel it off. But yeah, so you're just going to be putting some muscle behind it here, and letting it sort of let that image, and you're going to be pushing that image basically and burnishing it off with your spoon. And kind of just pushing it. It's going to take a little bit of elbow grease, a little bit of pressure. Just push that. And I just kind of do the burnishing wherever I'm working. I just kind of do it between my fingers. So I hold my image down, and I just kind of do my burnishing kind of between wherever my fingers are. And that just helps. I find it helps anyways. Gives me a little bit of control of the paper so it's not slipping. At one point, when you know that you've done it everywhere, the paper actually will be stuck on your piece of wood or your drawer or whatever it is that you're working on. It will be kind of set down, so you won't have to worry about holding it as much. But when I'm starting and I'm just getting started, I just kind of hold it down and kind of just burnish kind of between my fingers so that I'm not moving the paper and shifting the image, because it'll be blurry. So yeah, so we'll just kind of move it around, move your block, move your piece, whatever it is, again, if you're able to, just so it's comfortable. You'll be here a little while doing this, kind of again burnishing that image, pushing it down. And yeah, so I'll just continue on, and then I'll fast forward or speed up the video here. This takes a few minutes. You don't want to watch me doing this. Yeah. All right. Okay, so I think that we've got it down really good. And how you're going to know that you've got everywhere is that it actually even has a little stickiness to it. Like you can feel like it's kind of stuck down. And as you can see, I was checking it a little bit just to make sure that I did in fact burnish it down everywhere. But like I said, it's kind of, you can tell that you've gotten everything where it's almost like pressed into onto your border, your surface that you're working on. So yeah, I feel like it's ready to go. I've checked it a couple times, and it looks like the image is taken down quite a bit and gone down. And yeah, so here's the big reveal. All right, so we're gonna peel it off. There we go. Look at that. So yeah, so it actually went on quite nicely. Here, I'll just hold it up here. So went on quite nicely. Again, we're not going for a screen printed professional decal-like look. This is vintage. It looks worn. Yeah, so it looks kind of aged and worn, and it's not perfect. It almost has that stamped look, which is what I really like when I'm doing this. Yeah, it's not a decal look. So yeah, so there we go. So we're gonna let this dry. So this needs to dry. And so I might use my blow dryer or whatnot just to kind of speed it up, because I always want to work along a little bit faster. And so yeah, so you're gonna want to let that dry. Let's see if I can turn this camera up a little bit so I'm in the camera so you can see me. All right, here we go. All right, so we're done here. We're gonna let this dry. I think it turned out quite nicely. And then what you want to do is you want to seal it with either the furniture sealer, like a furniture sealer or a tough coat. In this case, it's a PIY furniture sealer. I really like this sealer. I used it on the top of an end table the other day, and use a good brush. I use a really, really fine brush, and it went on so smooth. And again, you don't want to shake it or stir it too hard to create bubbles, but you want to just put it on really nice and smooth and keep a wet edge, and it dried up beautifully, beautifully matte, but really it's going to be a nice surface to give that surface, that painted surface, an extra durability. Or you can use a paste wax. The PIY paste wax. I've used lots of different waxes. I love this wax. It just goes on so buttery smooth, and then with a couple wipes, you're into polishing right away, and it just polishes up so beautifully and is shiny. It gives such a shine and a sheen to your finished work that yeah, I really, this has kind of become my go-to paste wax, and so I just like this product so much. And then of course this is what we used, was the transfer gel from the PIY transfer gel to do our transfer here. So yeah, we're all done. So it's ready to go. I think this is adorable. It looks like an old postcard, and I haven't painted the back, so I'll go ahead and I'll go finish it off with painting the back. And then yeah, and likely probably to use my paste wax to seal this up. And I think it does. It looks like a postcard. And I'm actually going to try and mail this. You know, I've heard about mailing potatoes. So yeah, so I think I'm actually going to try and pop this into the mail, go to the post office and see if they'll mail it for me, and give that a try. All right, so we're done. Thank you for watching this little spur of the moment spontaneous video on how to use the PIY transfer gel. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoy using the product. So if you could, like the video, share it. I'd appreciate a good share, and leave any comments or tag somebody that you know that might be interested in trying this product and enjoys doing image transfer. So thank you very much for watching. Again, it's Monica from Little Painted Nest, and take care. Have a wonderful day.